This vlog doesn't have any structure at all. It's just gonna be Jimmy and I doing fun stuff, and I take you with us. Sorry, it's me from the future. I just want to give you a little bit of context because this is a very long video that I decided to keep long for a reason. I was with Jimmy and like filming random things, and I noticed that I was asking him questions and with the camera like that, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna record the things that I'm asking you and you know your response. So it turned out I don't want to leave out that much of what I recorded. I know it sounds like I'm laughing like 90% of the time in this video. It's actually not real, it's not the reality. I was laughing 100% of the time. I want to show you just what it's like to be with Jimmy, that he's a friend. I feel like he's a friend of mine, but he's also like one of my idols. And that's it. It's a long video, but I think you should enjoy it. Almost.
And that what happens there?
It's just B-rolls.
And that's what happens, it just cuts.
Okay.
It's like ridiculous.
What's in the liquid? It's just water and anti-freeze?
It's antimicrobial, so you don't get rushed by bugs.
This is actually an absolute start.
If you take like on the weld table, just put some prongs together on like one shaft. And then...
So this is just you tinkering, like this is not for a video?
No, this is just when we had the plasma table reset up, we did a couple of test cuts and I just ended up cutting out a bunch.
What do you gain? Like, you do it for fun, or you actually like experiment?
No, you know, in like a Mr. Miyagi Karate Kid kind of way. The only way to get good at something like this is just to keep doing it over and over. And if I'm doing it just for fun and just to develop the muscle memory of being able to just kind of shift my whole body and do this, or just keep that like that for this particular rough cut. Like right now, I'm just roughing out, getting rid of the material. You can see how much heavier this one is. This is almost, because of all the material I removed, this is maybe about 2/3 lighter than that. So maybe 1/3 lighter. What
percentage of the things you do goes in a video, like in the shop?
Probably about 75% of what I do goes into the videos. Like this, I've been playing around with this. Well, I had a really long cut the other night on the laser, and that's why I started sharpening this. So, because while I was going over there, I didn't want to leave it, so it was about 3 in the morning and I'm over here just sharpening this by myself. And I'm really happy with this. This is something I really do want to use. So what I'll do is I'll develop a technique like this off camera, and I happen to have 9 of these, and I'm not going to grind all these. I'll end up giving some of these away to friends and whatnot. But of course, and I'll develop my technique, and then I'll think of a cool handle, and I'll think of a cool video, and maybe I'll put 3 burritos in a row, and I'll go cut through the 3 burritos at one time. I'll think of, you know, while I'm working on it, I start thinking of what the video would be and some of the funny little attributes the video might have that could make it more interesting than just your average grinding.
So can I say that this is the way you research?
Yeah, this is the way I research. And actually what's interesting is that since I have 3 of these and I'm really happy with the way this grind is coming out, I could potentially start the video grinding this one and then crossfade to me grinding this one, just to show you, you know, this is...
So you're cheating.
This is America. This is Hollywood. This is Hollywood YouTube. When you have multiples of something, it's technically not cheating because you're making a video about how to make this. So I could, as a practice run, start to really fall in love with the way this is coming out and saying I should really show some techniques that are developing when I'm this far along, capture some of that on film, and then just go backwards. And now this is a saw blade from a sawmill that I got at the flea market. Now, another interesting thing having the plasma table, something I've been thinking about doing, is getting a saw blade, cutting as many blanks of a various shape as I can think of out of, or as I can fit of, sell the blanks, and then sell the cutout leftover, because that looks cool too. So that's something that's going to be coming up on my website. So this is a Sabatier drop forged knife blank that me and Taylor found at an antique shop. And since she saw it before me, it's hers, even though I paid for it. And I'm not allowed to sharpen it. And I really honestly wouldn't want to, so I'm just kind of kidding around. But this is a beautifully shaped knife from the 1800s. It's a drop forged knife from France. You can see that beautiful shape in the back, that kind of guard that's built into the knife. So this is where I got this shape from. I just redrew it in Illustrator, took a photograph of it, brought it into Illustrator, and scaled it up to the correct size, and then redrew a vectors over it. And then these are the ones that I'm sharpening here. So they really take a long time to grind, but just the texture on that is just so beautiful. I just noticed the hump in the back of this, which I kind of like. Me and JD came up with that. Here's a blade. If you wanted to take any of these blanks to sharpen, it's a little draw knife.
What do you actually think when people say that you can buy what you make instead of like spending hours making it or whatever?
Well, they just...
The polite answer.
Yeah, what do I say? I say, of course you can, but the experience of learning is really what this is about. And being self-reliant and knowing that when there is a situation you need to rely on yourself and you can't go to the store, you can't go, ooh, Walmart's not open, Tesco's not open. I'm trying to think of a European store. No, so the idea is it's really learning, and just making a knife is not just about making a knife. Making a knife is about practicing how to use the grinder, developing a sense of style, making decisions. I say it and I mean it wholeheartedly that when you make anything, you're making hundreds of thousands of decisions microscopically, split second to split second there. And you could make them all in the wrong direction and come out with something that looks like shit, or you could make them all in the right direction and come out with something that looks beautiful. And that's why you gotta practice. Okay. So right here, this is my 1967 South Bend lathe. I was made in 1967 and this was made in 1967. So when this dies, I probably will drop dead. Every night I come out here and I polish it and I make sure it turns on, and then I can go to bed. But this is great watch. I'm gonna die now. No, the belt's not turned on. But it's in beautiful condition for a 53-year-old machine. Apparently it sat at Columbia University in New York and it barely got any use. It was like down in the student maintenance room. I don't know. I have no idea really what it was. That's what I was told. But you can just tell by the ways and what good condition they're in that this has very minimal wear. It's 10 feet long, South Bend. And it's a 16-inch over the bed. I have another one that is 8 feet long. I'll show you that in a minute.
Is that the one in the machine shop?
Yeah, that's in the machine shop. This I brought in here, so I have a couple different shops. This is the shop in progress. This is the dream shop that's in progress. And every time I acquire some kind of new, cool, antique-y really tool that I'm proud of, I'll bring it here. I have another few tools sitting on deck. Over there you see the big bandsaw. So in this room is going to be a collection of real vintage stuff that all works well, in good shape. Always be knolling your garbage. So this is a 1920s American woodworking tools bandsaw. A fan gave me a lead on this. This is a beautiful bandsaw. I did a couple little videos on this, but I now have two of them. This one is here in the dream shop, and I have one in the main shop. I'll show you that one later. But it's a 36-inch saw, and it has a 15-inch rip capacity. And the best thing about it is that you can't stall it. The older I get, the more frustrated I get. If I could stall a tool, I want to just put it out on the curb. One thing that is one of my pet peeves is tools stalling. Like if you could stop it by binding the blade on it, you need one that doesn't stall. And life is good.
What is it that you actually like about buying this stuff? Because I mean, it's obviously not something that not all that you buy you need it, right?
Right.
You actually need it. So there must be something that you actually love about buying this stuff.
That's funny. Why do I need this? Why do I want this when I don't actually need it is basically the question. Because it's beautiful, and me and Eric and Andrew always talk about, like, when are you going to see it again? When are you going to have the opportunity to buy something this beautiful again? They're just so few and far between, in such good condition, with all the parts, no broken castings. I mean, this thing weighs 2,000 pounds, and you move it one time, you risk breaking it. You move it two times, it's made it 90 years and it still hasn't broken. So
is the FOMO playing a big part of it?
Fear of missing out, yeah. I just recently bought that big 34-inch double disc grinder, and I kept saying I don't need it, but then there was that little voice in the back of my head said, like, what the f***? Just f***ing get it. So I eventually did buy it, so it's that thing. When am I going to see another double D 34-inch disc? When am I going to see that? Never.
Are you more happy when you're buying it or when you have it?
Buying it is definitely a thrill, like the hunt, and like once you get it, and then it comes in on the pallet, and then you can't look at it because you're ashamed. You gotta come up with a better one than that. He's like, you think? I can't believe I did that. It's like eating a whole bag of potato chips and then having to hide the bag from yourself. The cameraman's laughing. I think he's eaten a bag of potato chips before. There's a couple of criteria. They have to always work. They always have to be ready to work. And they always have to try and make me money some way or another. And that justifies my obsession.
Do you like better buying old machines or having like super tech stuff like laser and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, old machines versus new tech, I like them both. Like getting new tech machines it's always, again, it's that little bit of an intimidation. It's like, oh, is this thing going to be smarter than me? But then once you get over the hump, you watch a couple YouTube videos, and you conquer it, and you make a couple of your first cuts, you're like, yeah.
You were kind of the guy against that kind of stuff, right? Like the new things.
Early
printers and stuff.
Early on, like I was like, I just couldn't figure out how to use it. Kind of the jury was out. I never really did say too many negative things about 3D printing. I just kind of, I was like, I'm not sure how this fits into my life.
Not the real making?
No, honestly, I never really had that opinion of like, that's not real making. All you do is push the button, because I know all the brain power that goes into coming up with the 3D model, which is really the most difficult part. Obviously, 3D printing is, simple once you actually hit the button, but coming up with the model, designing it, then making the decisions of what the color is, what you're going to do with it, how to fix it, how to fixture it, when you're doing CNC, how to fixture it, when you're lasering, what's the best material, what's the best choices. There's so many, again, it has that millions of decisions, thousands of hundreds of thousands of decisions you need to make. I say this quote, and I don't know, maybe I'll make a printed plate of it, but I spent 35, 40 years trying to stay on the line with a bandsaw or a chop saw or a table saw, and now something can stay on the line for me. All I have to do is think of what the shape is. Why would I say no to that?
Do you feel that you're less relatable with all these nice machines?
Do I feel like I'm less? Yeah. Do I feel like I'm less relatable? Honestly, this is the wave of the future. I think of that moment in time where there was a guy with a rock standing next to a guy with a bronze rock on a stick, and that guy with the rock is like, "What the f*** is that? That's a tool? This is a f***ing tool." And then there was that time where there was a guy in a pit saw, and he was getting sawdust in his mouth and his nose, going, "He's got one of those new table saws. They'll never last." And what lasted? The table saw, the pit saw. So we're at a moment in time where people are poo-pooing new technology simply because it's different. And the idea of it taking over and becoming the norm, it's just going to take a couple of more years. There's going to be a moment in time where there's so many people that think that that's awesome. They're going to be like, why? Like, why would you use it? You got the CNC over there. Watch. Son, what's that? That's what I hear in my head.
What is your favorite machine in the machine shop?
My favorite machine, I guess, would probably be the lathe. That's like my first impulse. But right now we're at the Bridgeport, and the Bridgeport is so versatile. You could do so many different things with it. Lately I've been saying having a Bridgeport in the shop is like having a table saw in a wood shop. So having a Bridgeport in a metal shop is like having a table saw in a wood shop. You could do a lot of things. It's just, it's one of those things that I always like to say, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So The more of these type of crazy tools you have, again, it goes back to my obsession with just cool old stuff. Good old heavy metal that works well and will not stall. That might be the name of my channel. Good heavy metal that works well and doesn't stall.
Over the poster.
So Aaron, this is Aaron. Aaron's been making a lot of parts of this. Every time we make a bunch of ice picks, we hold some back. And so this is here in the machine shop because I'm going to twist them. So we have about 30 here that we're going to twist. They're a little bit sexier, and I have a little procedure on a lathe that I do. You know, maybe would you like to see one? Would you like to see how I do it? Let me show you. This is the same lathe in the other shop, but it's from 1944, and it's only 8 feet long. But it's got a lot more wear and tear. You can see here how it's a little bit more beat up. I had this one first, and then when that opportunity came for me to buy that other one, like, what the f***? When are you gonna see this again? You gotta buy it.
Sorry, everything's away. Didn't clean up.
Did all the folk crew coming? So I grab this, and I wanna. So I lock that in there. I'm not going to turn the lathe on at all. I'm actually going to disengage the belt because we're not going to be using the belt. We're just using the lathe so that things stay straight. Since this is the first one, it's going to take a while to get everything hot. Isolate the twist of what you do. We'll just say that if you want everybody kind of wants to twist. Thank you. That's our belt grabby shit. Grab the back of the pick itself is a little. I gotta get a better chuck to keep from having that problem. There we go. Really should let it get a little bit hotter. By using the lathe, I keep these two halves tangent. I used to do it in a vise and just put a ratchet on the end, but then one side of the twist would go in any direction versus the front. This, well, here I was experimenting. This is a drawer with some experiments in it. This is the first one, and he's trying to f chicken.
Sorry.
This is a very early ice pick. I retired it. This is way before I was actually making ice picks. This looks like something from the 1900s. But you could see here, before I figured out that crimping mechanism, can you see that up close? Before I figured out the slot and the dimple. This is very crude. This was really just for me in my own pocket. I didn't worry if something broke or got lost. I would just fix it again, and I hadn't even put my logo on this one yet. When Giaco comes back 10 more times, he can bring this to his museum. But today, Giaco's gonna get a very special treat. This is one of my experiments, making just different shapes for the pick itself. This is, I'll be right there. This is just an experiment showing different ways of, if you're gonna use it as like a leather awl or just a tool. But I was just trying to make a little sexy connection right there. And this is actually a flat piece of metal wrapped over and then hammered to grab the end of the pick. So this is one piece of material that goes up and over and grabs that. Want that? It's kind of a choice. Here's another one, so you could see the evolution. I had these little fat things, you could see that. And I just thought, now there's a spider web in my eye. So it's just a real simple, just little hand awl. I drilled that hole in the top, and I thought that hole just did not look sexy, and then I made that strap for the one that I just handed you. So that's the evolution of me just experimenting in the shop. We're gonna name this video Diddling in the Shop. No, Tinkering in the Shop. Diddling alone in the shop. No, that's Tinkering alone in the shop. That's what we'll call this. And what it leads to. So you could have that too, put that in the collection.
For real?
Yeah, put it in the European Smithsonian. Does this mean we're married?
Where you got those?
Me and Andrew Alexander went picking up here in upstate New York, and we found a guy that had a whole bunch of old iron, and I had to get these. Again, what the f***? Like, when are you going to see these again? You have to buy them. So I bought these matching square sets. They're about 50 pounds a piece, and it's about what I paid for them, $50 each. So these are great. I'm going to polish these up. I might do a restoration video and try and get 70 million views just polishing the rust off or something. It's not a real restoration. You just took the rust off. It's not real. You didn't take off the barrel of the gun. It's not real. You didn't re-blue it. It's not a real restoration. You can't use that word. Did you ever hear that story? Me and Andrew found... Andrew and Eric and I and Chris Cash and Brett, we were all walking in the junkyard nearby here, and Andrew will find anything anywhere. Like, I send him a picture of something, he's like, ask about the lathe in the background, and I don't even, it takes me a minute to see the lathe in the background. We were in a junkyard, he found this, and he goes, "Did y'all see the toolbox full of tools?" I go, "No." He's like, "It's right over there." And so we went and got it, and he goes, "I got an idea." He goes, "It's full of Starrett tools." The door was closed. We punched the door really hard so it would stay stuck shut, so when we brought it to the old timer, he's like, "I don't know, what's in it?" And we, like, I did this like fake pry at it. Like, I was like, can't get the front off. It's like, "Well, I'll pry the front off." And we're like, it's not coming. He's like, "Oh, here's a screwdriver." Like, he wasn't gonna let us go. So we got the front off, and he gave us a good deal. He gave us $100 for the whole box, and I've kind of picked through it a little bit, but there's a lot of different Starrett things inside here. I mean, any one of these things is probably worth $100. There's just another little indicator attachment, a couple things like that. For some reason, there was these in there. You know, every toolbox. In my ball. Every toolbox is a very personal.
Oh, I bought those.
Yeah.
In the place.
And, you know, if you asked me if I knew what was in here, I would have told you I have no idea. But everybody's toolbox is their own little sanctuary of junk, mini junk. And this toolbox was somebody's personal mini junk pile. But it had really
full junk.
But yeah, it had really good junk in it.
How about this too? Kind of.
Test indicator set.
You're not taking care of that indicator set. It's rusty.
Hasn't been calibrated. You don't know whether it's good or not.
You don't even know. You don't even know machining. You just started. How could you make a video? I want to do a video where it's all lathe all the time. Like, the whole video is all lathing. But every single time it's just a close-up of my hand and the chuck key shooting out. Every time I start the lathe. Why would you do that? That's not a good idea.
There's going to be so much activity in the comment section.
I'm gonna do it because you told me not to. It's not a good idea. You're gonna get fired. You gotta stop it. This is the legit story. So, when I started developing my brand, when I started developing my brand, and I first got my shop bot in 2013, which was 6-7 years ago, I started making these on, I had a little tiny, like an 8-degree V-bit. I would cut these out, almost, it was like laser precise, and I would cut these out and I would drop them in the mail and mail them to people. And so these are the very first stencils that I would give away, cut on styrene, and this is one in the shop. So this can go in the museum. Thank you. Be careful, it's very fragile. So this is a Reed 208, which is like one of the few holy grails. It is a 300-pound, 8-inch wide jaw, Reed, made in Pennsylvania, here in America. Probably made around the turn of the century. No one really can give me an accurate date on it. But I bought it from a gentleman at the flea market. And a funny story, he sold me a vise that he had on the table. And I said, "Do you have any other vices?" And he says, "As a matter of fact, in my shop, I have this big old, but it's stuck and it's rusty." And I was like, "I'll take it." Because he said, I have a 300-pound vise that's at my shop, but it's stuck, and I just said, I'll take it. And he's like, well, before you make that decision, come look at it. And I came and looked at it. I got it for 250 bucks. This is about a $2,000 vise at this point, now that it's fixed. You know, it all depends on how much somebody wants it, but starting around $1,200 or $1,500, I think it could probably go up to $2,000. It's a swivel base, which is another reason these are hard to find. It's got a working swivel base, which it's temporarily on this aluminum base that JD made. I got to make a proper base for it because it's a heavy, heavy vise and it needs a proper heavy base. It's already rusting again. What's wrong with you? Don't take care of anything. I wish I had that. If I had that, it would be painted. It would be in the house. You have everything. You get everything for free, and you don't even take care of it. I wish I had a big vise. I wouldn't let it get rusty. I would take care of it. I would take care of it. You don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know how to like unstick stuff. So this is my Tormach 440. I've had this now for about 3 or 4 years, and they were nice enough to give it to me. Why do you always get? You only can afford stuff and you get it for free. And I really love playing with this. I should really. I need to understand Fusion better so that I could develop the models. That's obviously the hardest part of doing 3D CNC is developing the models in the computer.
But you're pretty good with it.
You just push the button. You don't know what you're doing. So, let's see. I'm okay. You know, I'm okay. I get better as time goes on. This is for many, many hundreds of ice picks. For probably about 4,000 ice picks, I would CNC the logo right into the side of the ice pick, and this is the file for that. And I'd hold the ice pick right in the vise, and with a really sharp V-bit, I would engrave the logo right in there. And you can see what a V-bit pattern looks like. Now I hand stamp everything. It goes a lot faster. I could do like, this would take maybe 3 minutes per ice pick. Now I could stamp 10 ice picks in 3 minutes. And actually, a little bit easier. But you know, that's it. When you make something over and over and over again, you look for opportunities to, you know, improve them. What am I supposed to do with the ice pick? Like, what do you think you are? And that's how I do it. Joe, what are you doing, man?
And action.
Like a real farmer. So I got this as a 1950 Alice Chalmers. When I bought this house, there was a 1949 or 39, exactly the same type of tractor in the backyard here. And I tried to restore it and I got a little frustrated. And it was really kind of before I knew more about machining. This is like 15 years ago. So I really didn't know much about antique machinery and I got a little frustrated. And so I gave it to somebody nearby who restores antique tractors. And I said, if you restore it, sell it back to me. Anyway, I never heard from the guy and I always regretted giving it away. And one thing led to another, and now that I'm on YouTube, I got a little bit of money and a lot of friends around the world. I asked a couple of people if they knew where they could find one, and my buddy Sam in Pittsburgh found this for me. And he delivered it to me, and it runs great. And it's great for hauling and pulling. If I have to pull any big heavy logs, this thing is, it's like a team of ox. It's like a team of oxen, and it's also just a cool antique machine that runs, works, and I could use it. So I'm happy that this house has a tractor back.
This is the day after. We are exploring the race truck. Do you think it's gonna work?
They usually start.
Okay, let's try. Let me try.
You should run. They ran at the end of the summer, so we should get them going.
Nice. Oh, 2-seaters.
Yeah, come on, you and I. Man, it started. This is so long. It'd be crazy if it started right up. Where's the choke? I already smell the gas.
Hey. Almost.
Yeah. Come on, mother.
Hey, 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 hey! Aw. You want me to do this?
I got it.
Is this the brake?
Yeah, do it.
I lost the belt.
The whole motor is moving. Put it on the top one and then roll it forwards or backwards to get it on the bottom one. Oh, the motor's all moved over. Look at how far over the motor moved.
It did move, right?
Yeah.
Almost.
It looks like
Yeah.
it won't ever work again though. Gotta kick this bitch.
Why did it move so much?
I don't know.
Like, I don't even know
Loose
where
bolts.
it can move.
Oh, you see? Yeah, no. The motor mount's just loose as shit.
Yeah.
I think the axle shifting, that's what the problem is.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
I'll push it.
Yeah, push.
Push start. Go.
That was a lot of fun, Jimmy.
Yeah, a couple hours with these two things, we'll get them. A few hours with these two machines, we'll get them. We didn't film me yanking the starter cord out of this one, did we? When I bought this place, the owners gave me 2 go-karts. And they both run, but they both need to be fully maintained. They haven't been maintained in a couple of years. We pulled this out trying to start it. But they're fun to play with, and this summer they're all going to get a makeover.
What's the plan with the track itself? Will you eventually get rid of it?
I bought it for just for the land. But this part, as long as I don't have to get rid of it, it'll be a fun event for all of us. I mean, we come here every year I'll leave it as long as possible. The actual property all the way over there is going to get a building. And this will become the center of my operations. And I'll keep this as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, look. We're coming to steal your metal.
Yeah. It's funny. There's like a plus and minus living in a town like this. The good thing is, you could say, I don't know what to do with these tires. Somebody knows somewhere that'll be able to get 15 cents a tire. They'll come and take them. They got guys fighting over the metal fencing to get it taken away. It's fine. Take it. There's a whole lot of work to do here, but that's why I got the place so cheap. But I think it's a good opportunity, and you know, just baby steps. What I could afford and what I can do. I got a lot of help here in town that want to be involved, so.
The potential is awesome.
Yeah, you think? It's a cool spot, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that it's like retail space right on Main Street, this town's only going to go up from here, you know. I think it's bottomed out already and it's on its way up with my help and the folks at the Blackthorn Resort and some of the events we're trying to do. This is the town of East Durham. I bought my house up here 15 years ago, 8-9 years before my YouTube success. A lot of people think I moved up here because of YouTube. I had this place up here, and now that I'm up here full time, I got to know more of the locals, and then I found that this place was available because they closed it down for the first time since 1985. The business down here is just so slow, they didn't want to keep it open, and that's where I saw the opportunity to come and grab it. And I think I could turn it into something fun for the fans whenever they come out here, and then just something fun to play with, like when Giaco's in town, anybody else wants to come. The go-kart track will always be open for us. This was a shooting gallery for those machine guns in the machine shop.
Oh yeah.
They would shoot here. The guys who destroyed some, well, the guys who ripped out some of the stuff took the sign. One of the guys coming here to clean up took the sign because then he would come here as a little kid. He's like, "Can I have it?" I said, "You take it." It just said shooting gallery. And these compressors would energize those guns, and they would shoot lead BBs. And you shoot the star out of the paper. So
Do they work?
That one, I took the motor off because the head is seized, and they said that one doesn't work anymore, but me and Patrick are going to pull it out and see exactly what's wrong with it. But I get to keep both.
Just to use as a reservoir. Or...
Yeah, of the tank itself. That's new. That's only like 4 years old, but they ran it into the ground. They didn't change the oil in the head, it froze. And this was the golf house where you'd ring the bell here, they give you a ticket and a golf set of golf clubs and bowls. This is where you wash your balls.
What's that? Ah, the balls are for real.
And the last hole in the game, we just ripped it out the other day, was you'd have to get it like up a cart or up a hill, and then when you got in the hill, the ball would come inside the building here, and that would be that's how was it. You return the ball that way. This was the office. There was a wall here with a locking door. There was nothing in that. So ripped it out. We might make this like a kitchenette area where we could run the pizza oven that I got. I'm just gonna kill myself. We'll put a hole in the wall here, and we might serve YouTube dinners to YouTube friends and family out here on weekend nights in the summer. It's not really more. It's more of a community building thing and less of a money making thing. But we'll see. My buddy Ray is an amazing cook and a great baker, and he's going to take control of the kitchen and this spot and set up a schedule. Big stencil that says Diresta, and just spray it right across the word Fun Park. It's going to say Supersonic Speedway Diresta. When I first got the place, there's no lights at night, and well, I have all the electric shut down, but when I got the place, I came in, I drove around, I did a couple of loops around, and I went to drive out, and it was all dark, and I sideswiped that pole. That's why the side of my truck has a dent in it, because I hit that stupid pole. Because I can.
Bear, you ready? Come on. Good boy!
That's impressive.
Isn't he so cute? Come on, get on there. Get up there, bud. You want to do it one more time? Come on, up. Woo!
That's impressive.
We didn't know which side he was going to go to, but...
Good
Bear,
man.
say hi
Good
to,
man.
Say hi to Mike.
Good man. Oh, you smell my dog.
This is a guitar I'm working on. Battery life.